Hey, it's Lynne Golodner, and this is the Make Meaning podcast. I'm founder of the Your People marketing and PR agency, and I lead the Make Meaning movement, a platform that helps purpose-driven visionaries and leaders do business with meaning. On this podcast, you'll hear stories of how people dare to take chances to live the life they want, with meaningful work and purposeful days. There are many ways to fill your life with meaning. Join us at makemeaning.org to learn more. Now, on to the show. The past year has brought with it a lot of tumult and upheaval, a global pandemic with a high rate of fatalities, and precautions that turned political in the United States, a presidential election year that saw vitriol and hate lead the conversation, racial turmoil that turned deadly, and of course, the economic effects of prolonged lockdowns and closures in an effort to protect the population from surges in the spread of the novel coronavirus. But there was so much good, too. I, for one, can attest that I no longer wake to a jarring alarm clock, but instead rise fully rested, ready to start another beautiful day. I've cherished the time at home and on forest trails with my 4 teenagers and my amazing husband. To be honest, my husband and I have grown so much closer in the past year, and now when he goes to work 2 days a week, I miss him. Despite all the horror of the past year, I feel grateful for this new focus on what truly matters and the simplification of our formerly busy lives. Research shows that many couples have grown closer due to lockdowns and quarantines, and I can say that has been true in my world. I cherish my relationships so much more today, and I'm not sure I want to return to the busy, cluttered times of the past. At the beginning of the pandemic, people wondered whether we'd see a surge in breakups or a slew of pandemic pregnancies to represent all this time shut in together in close quarters. Today on the Make Meaning podcast, I invite 2 special guests to join me, my husband, Dan Golodner, and my best friend, Alisa Peskin-Shepherd, who is a divorce lawyer in Michigan. We will discuss the pandemic effect on relationships and what we are taking as lasting lessons from this unique time. Dan and Alisa, welcome to the Make Meaning podcast. Well, Dan and Alisa, welcome to the Make Meaning podcast. I'm happy to have you guys here.
Thanks for letting us be here.
It's great to be here. It's a lot of fun.
Seriously, this is like the most fun interview that I've ever done because A, we're in person for the first time in over a year, and B, it's 2 of my favorite people. So what a fun episode.
There you go.
Right, but we're here for a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So I'm going to start with the good news. Since March of 2020, I've been at home with my husband, Dan, pretty much all the time. In late summer, he went back to work 2 days a week, but for the most part, we spend the majority of our time in the same place. I'm going to admit the first few weeks were rough. I don't know if you feel that way.
Weeks, months.
Okay. We had to get used to being together so much, but it didn't take long to really grow to love this. I love seeing you all the time, and I think it's been good for our relationship. What do you think, Dan?
Yes, dear. I think it has been.
No, seriously.
Something about being home more changed something about us.
Yeah? What do you think it changed?
It changed. Well, not only did we have to go through a pandemic, so here's the parents trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But also, so we had to like do a different way of communicating before. Before we go to work, we have our separate lives for 8 hours out of the day, come home, make dinner, scramble around, try to figure out things. We were able to figure out things immediately, face to face.
Yeah, it was interesting because, I've always worked at home. Really, it was like hard for me to get used to having other people around when I was working because this was my domain during the day. Like you guys all left, the kids went out, you went out. So that's why I think it was hard for me in the first few weeks. And you were like so attentive. I don't know if you remember, but you'd come over like mid-morning and you'd be so like eager to give me a kiss. And I'm like, I'm busy. I can't give you a kiss right now. And then eventually I remember I started coming to you to give you a kiss and you're like, I'm busy. I can't, and it was like, wait, what? And I felt so bad because I realized that's what I had done to you in the beginning. But I think it took me like, I don't know, a few weeks or a month to like turn that corner. And then it was just so nice. Like, I think we would like make dates occasionally for lunch together, which was really cool. And I know you used to text me when you were at work, like little love messages and whatever, but now we actually just got to see each other. And it's like, I think it was like that the time was slower. And so we could appreciate having time together and like really talk and really see each other instead of running. I have to go to this kid's soccer game or I have to take that kid there or whatever. Like we were always dividing and conquering. That was like the first 9 years of our relationship.
There was a couple times, not a couple times, there was a lot of times where we'd be in bed together at the end of the day and say, who are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
Or, high five each other as we passing each other because I'm going here, you're going there. I'm picking up this kid, you're picking up that kid. We didn't have that for this year.
I know.
So we were able to slow down.
Yeah. It was like, I hate saying that because I know the pandemic's a horrible thing. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. The pandemic's a horrible thing. And so many people have died and there are so many economic effects. Like, let's just get that out of the way. But personally, I feel very privileged that I have been able to see good in this time. Like I'm the kind of person that just has a super busy schedule all the time. And I couldn't in the past year because everything got canceled. There were no in-person meetings. There were no plans with friends. And by the way, I think I realized that I felt like social pressure from social media to have plans with friends that disappeared in the past year. Like nobody's going out to dinner, nobody's going to restaurants, nobody's having parties. So I didn't feel bad that we were like at home on the couch watching Netflix, like that became our thing. And like, I don't feel bad about it. Yeah. I'm sure I will when it ends, but
probably
peer pressure.
But this whole thing, yes, it's a horrible thing that's happened. We've had a strange 2020.
Yeah.
Starting with the pandemic, BLM, then the elections, everything. Insanity, right?
Yep.
But through the whole time, we were able to evaluate. We're able to slow down to evaluate.
Yeah.
We didn't have that chance before pandemic. Imagine before pandemic and the elections and BLM happening, how fast would it go? Yeah. We would not be able to breathe and take it in and digest it and reflect it. That was one kind of like meaning we've had through that this year. We were able to sit with each other.
Yeah.
And reflect instead of maybe a phone call from work. Oh, okay, this, XYZ, and then hang up and go. And
or
I'll see you.
Why didn't you call me from work today? You haven't called me in 3 weeks from work.
I'm busy.
Leave me alone.
I'm working on something. It's very high stress.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I think I will say, I feel like I am so much more in love with you now than I ever have been.
That's true. You too, babe.
But I think that it's this time together. It's this past year, this slowing down and like really seeing each other. And I just think we've gotten closer and we've worked more as a team. We've always been a good team. But I remember in the beginning of the pandemic when it was total chaos and everybody was like looking for toilet paper and flour and yeast.
Yep.
You were the guy. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
I had to go hunt and gather.
Yeah, you did.
Where you had to stay back with the kids and protect the cave.
I was too afraid to go into the stores. It was like daunting. Yeah.
But it's true. It's like, this is my role for this first month to get through this.
Yeah.
It's like, and you had your role and we were able to communicate about it and we worked as a team with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really true.
Didn't freak out the kids. We were freaking out inside. What the heck is going on? The pandemic's crazy. No, we put a good front up.
I have to credit our kids because I know that they wish so many things had been different. We had a senior graduating last year. We have a senior graduating this year. It sucks that they didn't get all the normal rites of passage, but they have really taken it in stride. Our kids have weathered this pretty well. I do think that it's possibly in part due to how we've been. We've been calm. We've been happy. We've been connected. Like we haven't argued. We've just been like really at ease. And I think that that's so important for the kids.
Yeah. They can feel a love in the house.
Yeah. And especially when we have game nights and we're like pounding out 80s tunes late at night, like that helps, that definitely does. So yeah. Mom singing in a bathrobe and
It always helps the kids to see that.
So, okay. For our listeners, I just want to tell you, we met in 2009 and our kids were very little then. So we never, ever had that beginning of the relationship time to just discover each other because I had 3 young kids, you had 1. And it was always about like, is this going to go the whole way or not? Because there were kids involved. And it was like a year and a half later that we got married in 2011. And we have always loved our alone time. Like it's funny, when I got divorced, I was like devastated to think of not having my kids even one night a week or every other weekend. I grew to love that time because it was time I could catch up on exercise or sleep or work or all of the above, see friends and whatever. But for us, it really meant that we had guaranteed date nights. So we never had babysitters for our kids because we could go out on Tuesday nights or every other weekend. So we always had that time together and we've always enjoyed our alone time, like really cherished it, except for the first day of vacations. For some reason, we're always fighting on the first day of vacations, but hopefully that doesn't happen anymore.
We've learned.
I hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you get to take a vacation.
Whenever that vacation comes around.
Oh, it's coming, but we'll get to that. But I think part of it is that we had to learn how to love each other.
Mhm.
I think, like, what do you think we've done that has made our relationship grow and succeed?
Over the past 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
I listened to you. Yes,
Oh,
dear.
come on. You don't always listen to me.
No, no.
Let's be
Oh,
totally honest here.
really? Totally honest?
Yes.
Oh my, I don't think our audience is ready
Oh
for
my
that.
I don't know that I'm ready for it, and I'm sitting right here.
What was the question again?
What do you think we've done that made our relationship grow and succeed?
I think it is that our every other weekend
Yeah.
helped either not only helped one to get a lot of our energy out, so we had some fights,
Yeah.
get it out there, and so it wasn't in front of the kids as much as possible. We tried not to do it in front of the kids, or those weekends. That was the time where we reconnected. We were spoiled that way.
Yep.
And I think we were lucky enough to realize that, not consciously, maybe subconsciously,
Mhm.
and also we worked on ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. We both did.
You
A
know,
lot.
as you know, stats say the second marriage doesn't last that much, but I think we overcame it because
Yeah.
we knew something was deep for both of us,
Mhm.
and we didn't want to give up
Mhm.
without a good fight,
Yeah.
and we're still fighting to keep it together.
Yeah.
It's the good fight.
Good
I
fight,
think
good
I
fight.
learned somewhere in the middle of the last 10 years that, like, being married to somebody is a choice every single day.
Mhm.
And that one of the things I learned for myself is that I can look at my partner and say, these are the things that annoy me about you, because there's always going to be stuff. Or I could look at you and be like, I'm not going to choose to see that part of you. I'm going to choose to see what I love about you. And, like, realizing that it all was within me. It's not like, oh, if only he would change, our relationship would get better. It was more that I had to choose to see the good.
Mhm.
And I think once I made that shift, I think our relationship really got better.
Yeah. You can't put out all the fires.
No,
So that's what it is.
we're going to annoy each other. You're going to annoy me. I don't think I'm going to annoy you, but
Oh, never, dear. You never
no,
know.
I'm perfect.
Mhm.
So what do you think was different about this last year? So, like, what did we do consciously that made this closeness happen, this, like, sort of love re-blossoming or something?
Well, I was saying earlier,
Mhm.
I think we consciously, because we would say this to each other. It's like, let's not disappear from each other for the 8 hours while we're working.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we see each other. So yes, I would come over and give you a peck on the cheek and say good morning or
Yeah.
good afternoon or hello and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once we got into that groove, we
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
And then when we really, and that's the small thing. There's a lot of other things, but that's
Yeah.
just an example of how we try to keep connected without ignoring each other. We did that. And so there wasn't that loss of seeing each other
Mhm.
because it easily happened.
Yeah.
I could have been 8 hours gone.
Yeah.
You too.
Mhm.
In the
Mhm.
same house.
In the same house.
Yeah.
Which can easily happen.
Right. I mean, I think also we took important time for ourselves, which is super important for relationship. So, like, every single day, my tennis closed down, the pool closed down. I couldn't do my normal exercise, but every single day I would go for, like, a 3-mile walk by myself. I'd listen to podcasts. I'd bundle up in cold weather, but that was really good for me to have, like, that sort of time alone to, like, recalibrate. So we weren't always around each other.
No, you need that little break.
Yeah.
Because every hour on the hour, it's like, so what's new? I have nothing to say. I have no idea, honey.
Right. Right.
But you come back from your walks, tell me about your podcast that you listen to.
Yeah.
Or what you were thinking about, make the dinner or whatever that is. Oh, and also another thing is, like,
Yeah.
we'd have a special Friday night.
Yes. Yes, that's actually really big. So, the kids go to their other parents every other weekend, and you started making dinner for me.
Mhm.
We were just saying we wish we had collected all these recipes because every single one of them is amazing. But, like, you're going to have this, then you'll, like, tell me the menu Friday afternoon. And we would sit in front of the TV. Only once did we sit at the table. But
Why was that?
I think we just wanted to talk to each other. But most of the time we're like, we'll just binge our latest show or whatever. But
Still, it was the connection. It was a connection.
yeah.
Another connection, folks.
Yeah.
Got to keep those connections going.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And we would hike. We've gone on a lot of hikes.
A lot of walks, a lot of hikes.
We also took a vacation to northern Michigan, renting a house
Oh, yeah.
where we had the kids with us, but we took all the food. So we didn't have to worry because we weren't going to eat out because it was still the pandemic. And I think it was, like, the best vacation we've ever done because it was just so, like, manageable, and it wasn't rushed, and it wasn't expensive. I mean, that's huge too, because I think one of our big stressors before the pandemic was money.
Mhm.
And I think that so much of that fell away in the pandemic. It showed us what we really need and what we really don't, like luxury versus necessity. So I think after the pandemic, we probably won't revert to spending so much like we did before because we've seen that we can be happy with less.
Yeah.
But that trip up north was amazing because we would get up before the kids because they're teenagers, and we'd walk into town and get a coffee and sit at Lake Michigan, and we just always had that time for each other.
And we also we weren't rushing around going to restaurant to restaurant to restaurant or activity.
Yeah.
Wake up. It's like, today we're going either to hike this hill or we're going to this beach.
Right.
What is it, folks?
Yeah.
Because we're not in a hurry or anything.
And we'd make breakfast, and then we'd pack lunch, and then we'd come back for dinner. And that's another thing too, sitting down for dinner every night together. That's been great during the pandemic too. Now I want to bring Alisa into the conversation.
Hi, Alisa.
Hi.
So thanks for enduring.
It's been great watching you two interact like this.
We're so in love. What can I say?
You've said some really interesting things that I hope I can bring up as we continue this discussion that I heard you say that affect relationships and gives me a good perspective.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad. I mean, it's funny to put this into one episode because we're talking about what has worked for our relationship in the past year and how we've grown stronger and closer and more in love. Now I'm turning to you, a family law expert, divorce attorney, who has more than 30 years of experience in the field. I also want to look at the other side of the coin. And I want to know, have you seen any difference in the past year as far as number of cases or kinds of cases that have come your way?
So that's a very interesting question. The cases that I had that were already going on became much more intense.
Okay.
The intensity of bringing people together who are breaking up, but now they're in the same household.
Oh, yeah.
The intensity to get things done at a time when courts were closed down, courts were pivoting and figuring out how can we accommodate our clients or our litigants while we can't be in person. So everything slowed down for a good period of time in the court system. But for the people who were living together, nothing changed for them. It just got more intense.
Oh.
So those cases that were started before the pandemic and then were continuing during the pandemic definitely got more intense.
Okay.
And intense with like, I want this done. This needs to get done. Or the issues got more intense. Cases didn't really start coming in because of the pandemic at the beginning of the pandemic. I know a lot of people did talk about, cases are going to spike. They're going to spike. I anticipated, and it's really true, that while people were living together, most people were not bound to start a divorce at that time, but that after the pandemic, when it ends, or as we get vaccinated and as people are moving about more, now I'm seeing an uptick in the numbers of cases that are starting.
Okay.
I had a lot of inquiries during the first 6 or 8 months of the pandemic. But people didn't have the privacy to talk about things. So I had people calling me from their cars.
So now you're starting to see that as we're into sort of the second year of the pandemic, and you're starting to see those cases come your way?
I'm starting to see more cases. But I will say that most people that I've spoken with, it's not that the pandemic caused their divorce. There were problems before. It's just that it intensified those problems, or it gave people more time to think about those problems that they were experiencing and what they could deal with and what they couldn't deal with.
Okay.
Not everybody is as fortunate as the two of you to be able to form a stronger connection, but you had a good foundation to start with. So I think if you didn't have that good foundation, it would be hard to do that work while you're in the same household dealing with the issues that the pandemic brought on, whether it was loss of job or kids scheduling, or just being around more.
It's interesting because I don't want listeners to think that we had this like cakewalk of a relationship. Like, I think a lot of things aligned for us, and we definitely have that deep connection, which is the foundation for our relationship. But we had very rocky times over the course of like many years. And it was not because we were merging families. Like, our kids merged instantly.
They get along better than we did for a while.
Oh yeah. And they are like real siblings, even better than real siblings. They don't fight as much as real siblings, you know? So we've had a lot of alignment in that way, but we had very rocky roads.
Mhm.
And so I do want people to hear that we made a choice. I remember having fights and saying, I'm not going to divorce you, even though I hate you right now. And you probably thought the same thing.
Never.
No, yeah. But no, seriously, I mean, I feel like,
Seriously, we were at points where it was like, well, again, fighting the good fight.
yeah,
We were fighting
yeah,
hard, but we were fighting good. To just like, okay, I'm not going to go that extra ledge. When you look at it and step back for 2 seconds and put the ego aside,
yeah,
it's worth fighting for.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want people to know that like we made a choice.
Right.
We're going to get through this. Even though it was hard. And there were times when we were just like, how are we going to?
You made that
find a way?
choice before the pandemic hit.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so building on that foundation allowed you to continue to connect in the ways that you did connect. The things that I heard when the two of you were bantering back and forth that really struck me. One was that you like Lynne had the house to herself, so to speak, because she worked from home, and suddenly Dan was working from home and the kids were at home schooling.
Yeah.
And if I think about people who become empty nesters or say, how can I go into retirement with this person? It's kind of a parallel situation.
Yeah.
So people are surprised to hear when couples over 50 or 60 start to get divorced. You think, oh, it's a cakewalk now, but it's really not, because you're changing lifestyles. So the pandemic kind of mimicked that change in lifestyles and way of life and way of living.
Yeah.
The two of you still respected each other's separate space and recognized the need to still check in with each other during the day. So instead of a text message, you were able to walk into the other room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And your kids had their separate spaces to do their work as well.
Yep.
But you recognized the need to still be an individual person.
Yeah.
You didn't need to be in each other's space all the time. And I think that was something that was really important.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because, I mean, I love that you pointed out that that's a parallel to empty nest and retirement, which is true. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it is like that constant effort to keep the relationship going and growing and making sure you have time together and things in common. You know, I think that's super important. But I think that, you know, part of it also that you're saying is that, you know, having that individuality, like I think the best relationships that I've seen are when two people are completely whole individuals separate from one another. You know, like they'll travel alone or they have their own interests and their friends, and they don't always have to check in with each other or be together in those instances. They could do their own things because they trust that they're going to come back together and share that space. And I think that's what makes a relationship endure. And, you know, I also think that, you know, one of the things that when we sort of hit that coast that we were like, we got this, and we sort of turned a corner from like, are we going to get through all the yuckiness or whatever? I personally, I don't know if you did this, but I started reflecting back on my first marriage to wonder if I had shifted my perspective, would I have been able to have that one last? Just asking the question, because for so many years I was blaming him, and he has lots of things to blame, so I'm not going to free him from that. But I was really looking more reflectively at, you know, could I have shifted a perspective and been more successful? I don't think so in that instance. I don't think we were well matched. I think that, you know, we had some, I don't know, synergy, but it just wasn't what you and I have. But it was at least humbling, but also instructive to be able to reflect on myself and see where my responsibility was in that. Did you ever look back and
look back? The only thing I look back on is what I learned from that. And if I did look back, yeah, it would be something to the effect of not giving enough attention.
Yeah.
Taking things for granted.
Yeah.
Which is a huge thing for guys.
Yeah.
You know, when I was going through my divorce, it was like everything was about the guy just taking advantage of the whole situation, not cooking and not doing this, not shopping, not doing this, and taking advantage of the whole thing. And it's like, that's what I learned from it and still hold it.
Yeah.
And you remind me very well when I fall into that little trap of being a guy and not reflecting and not realizing how much harder you are working.
Okay. Well, to be fair, One of the things you're so great at, well, you're great at a lot of things. And we were talking about that this morning, that our relationship is very egalitarian, like laundry, cooking, garbage, cleaning. Like we really do share that. It's not like as the woman, I'm doing more of that. You might be doing more of that, to be honest. But you are great at buying little cards and leaving them for me,
Aw.
not at normal occasions, but at like unexpected times and normal occasions. And I felt so bad because I'm really bad at that. Like I blow off holidays and birthdays and whatever. So this Valentine's Day, you got what, 3 cards from me?
Yep.
And you're like, whoa, what is this? I'm like, I got to make up for lost time, right? Because you've been so good at that. Every single room in this house has cards from Dan to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really bad. So you're very good at paying
Well,
attention.
thank you.
I appreciate it. I do.
it too. Okay.
Back to Alisa. I did some research for this episode and I found 2 prevailing and contradictory messages.
Mhm.
So one is a message of greater unity and love that came from the pandemic. So I saw a study that revealed that 63% of couples say they've become closer during quarantine, including greater physical intimacy and some even deciding to have a child. And so it appears that people have adjusted their routines to carve out more alone time and more together time as a couple, like we did, like eating or cooking together, cuddling on the couch to watch Netflix, which we do like every single day, exercising together, which we don't quite do, but it's a good thing to strive for, you know. Anyway,
You hike together.
There we go.
yes. Okay, thanks. We do occasionally. Yes. So scientists at the University of Texas at Austin did a study that showed that relationships have continued as normal with maybe a slight boost to happiness. And one researcher said, how we think about our relationships and about our partners is a very important predictor for relationship satisfaction. So how we think about our relationships. So working so closely with relationships that are breaking up, what do you think about this? Like this, that it's all a mindset. Do you think that has any impact to, like that people maybe aren't looking at their relationships in the right way, or they're not realizing the power in how that perspective is, or that they can choose that perspective? What do you think?
I think that by the time the people have come to me to get divorced, they have thought that through, because nobody makes the decision to get divorced quickly.
Sure.
It's usually a process that they've gone through, looking at their relationship, maybe working on their relationship. So I think that by the time they come to me, they've gone through that. Can I change my perspective? Is it something about me? Most people do that. Being in the house together, being around each other all of the time. I mean, maybe younger people made choices like to have a child, but we don't really know, did they have a child because it was a good time? It's way easier to be pregnant and have a baby and be able to stay home with your baby during this pandemic. I do know a number of people who did. I mean, in the 1 year, you could get pregnant and have a baby.
Yeah.
Nobody at work would know because they're only seeing you from, the chest up.
It's a good point. Yeah.
So I feel like there were decisions made to have babies for that reason,
Okay.
not to take away from the closeness that other people were able to form during the pandemic.
Except with all this free time, there is more time to have sex.
If your kids aren't around.
Oh, but people find ways to have sex when kids are around.
But privacy is still an issue.
Yeah, I guess. You can be really quiet.
You can be quiet, but I'm thinking back to when my kids were home. It's like if mom and dad escaped for an hour, the kids would notice that, where are you, mom, dad?
So banging on the door.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I didn't go through a pandemic situation when I was married, but I can just see that happening.
Yeah.
Escaping. There's reasons to have a minivan when you're married with young kids, not just to cart the kids around.
I love that. I love that. So the other perspective I found in my research, total opposite, is that the pandemic has been bad for relationships. So basically there's no conclusive evidence in either direction. We could find whichever side we want to choose. But so there's actually something called the quarantine breakup. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Okay. So it's either a new relationship that fizzled out or an old relationship that wore thin due to being stuck inside together. So that body of research cited pandemic effects like increased unemployment, economic hardship, work stress as adding to the trouble on the relationship or the burden. So Alisa, what do you think, that aside, like in general, what are the biggest factors that lead to breakups, especially divorces?
During the pandemic?
Just in general. Like, I feel like you're going to say something like unemployment or economic hardship, or I don't know, like, are those factors that usually lead to breakups, or is that unique to this time and the tried and true factors that lead to divorces are different?
I do not believe that those things are unique to these times.
Okay.
I think when people are doing research, they can research for what they're looking for and see only that in front of them, which is why we have these two schools of thought.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, in a relationship, I've always believed that the underlying any other issue is a breakdown in communication.
Okay.
So if you're not able to communicate, then you can't communicate when there is stress over finances or a job loss.
Okay.
Breakdown in communication. If somebody's not happy or just not related to the relationship and you can't talk about your own feelings, that's a breakdown in communication. If when it's not pandemic, you can't talk about the kids going to this activity and that activity and how you're going to manage it and be a team, and what did you call it?
With divide and conquer?
Divide and conquer,
Yeah.
That's a breakdown in communication because then it falls on one person instead of the divide and conquer.
Okay.
So underlying everything, it's just really the communication.
How do you think sex factors into that, like for a marriage?
For a marriage, you have to be able to talk about your needs, your physical needs. And even though it is very personal, it has to sometimes not be taken personally.
Sure.
So if somebody's working really hard and stressed out at work, maybe they come home and they're not in the mood for any more intimacy than cuddling on the couch and watching Netflix. But the other partner might feel like they need more.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel it's always an ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
The people who come to me at getting divorced, by the time they're ready, their relationship has broken down. They're not being intimate.
Mm-hmm.
It's when that lack of intimacy lasts a long time. And when I was a much younger and newer attorney, hearing about marriages where couples didn't have sex for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. At first, that was shocking to me.
Yeah.
But now it's not so unexpected. There are plenty of loveless marriages in that way, sadly.
Yeah, it is sad. I do think that it's really important for people in a marriage to push through that wall of tiredness or busyness or the kids a step, every ounce of energy out of me. I don't have any more for you. Like sometimes you just have to force yourself to get back in the saddle, because I do think that connection is an important part of marital communication. I think that's a component that you can't let go for too long.
It's very important. It's very important. But and being a partner and being in a partnership, it means that somebody may want to make love and have a long romantic time, but the other partner might not be.
Right.
In feeling that way and finding that middle ground, I think can be really important to know that you're meeting each other's needs. And sometimes you just, like you said, just get back in just do it because it's important to your partner.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you love your partner any less.
Right.
It means you love that partner more because you can be in the mood or get in the mood or satisfy somebody else's physical needs in that way.
Yeah. It's another form of compromise for sure.
And communication.
I was about to say, and communication, because it's all about communication. Yes. Sometimes you're talking about a partner coming home too tired. Make the compromise, talk about it, then figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. So when I'm on this research kick here, I want to just mention a BBC study. So I don't know if it's relevant to us, but we'll see. That says that divorce rates are increasing around the world. And apparently there's a spike in searches for online advice on ending a relationship, and newlyweds are being the hardest hit. So ironically, I can't even believe this, breakups were big in China, where there were the strictest lockdowns, and in Sweden, where lockdowns were voluntary. So I don't know what the truth is. Do you have any thoughts about yes, divorces are on the rise around the world? No, they're not. It's because of lockdown. It's not because of lockdown. This is all conflicting research. So where do we land, Alisa?
I think that the lockdowns do have an effect on the divorce rate because divorce rates were declining all around the world. And now the research is showing there's a little bit of an uptick in divorces. So I do think that the pandemic has brought on more divorces, has caused more divorces. So that's, I think, whether it's because people were locked in the house together or just the effects of a pandemic and it was voluntary, I'm sure voluntary, but people were smart and they were staying home also.
Sure.
So it's not just because they were forced to stay home. People were staying home.
Mhm.
So the pandemic definitely, it intensified people's needs to get out. And for some people, it caused them to say, I just can't take another minute of it. Filing for divorce during the pandemic, those cases, which I really didn't get to touch on,
Mhm.
those were really difficult because it's not unusual for one person to have made that decision that they want to get divorced and for the other partner not to really be there yet
Yeah.
and to have to catch up. But during the pandemic, the people who filed for divorce and the people who didn't want to get divorced, the difficulty of the person not wanting to get divorced was, again, I use this word a lot now, intensified.
Yeah.
It just ramped up their anxiety. It ramped up their emotions
Sure.
and made it much more difficult for them to make decisions, to believe, how can this be happening? It's the middle of a pandemic. And they have so many more issues to deal with,
Yeah.
whether it's kids in school and figuring out homeschooling or their children's experiences of missing those milestones of graduation and dealing with those emotions.
Or something that we haven't even touched on, which is actually getting COVID or losing people to COVID.
Right.
You know, all of these things were happening at the same time. So then to have your partner file for divorce and be like, see ya, has got to be like, wait, I thought it couldn't get any worse.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I did have a few situations like that. And while at the beginning I talked about how the courts had to slow down, well, now we're a year into this and the courts want to speed things up now and get those cases that are a year old or older finished.
Sure.
And so they're really amping up with, you're going to go to trial. You're going to go to trial. It brings me what my passion is, Lynne, which you're very well aware of, is the collaborative divorce process.
Right.
Which doesn't involve the court.
Yeah.
And I was able to promote the collaborative divorce practice and the positivity of going through the collaborative divorce, not relying on the court, whether it was because things were slowing down or because things are speeding up and you might need more time.
Sure.
In the collaborative process, it's the couple who are determining the timing. We're not bound by the court's guidelines that you have to finish a divorce case within 365 days.
Right.
Not every case can be resolved in that period of time.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think there's some similarities here. Like collaborative is a choice. It's a perspective. Like I want to approach this breakup in a collaborative fashion. And so much of what we've talked about today is about how we choose to look at things, the mindset shifts that we embrace. You know, when you created your firm, Transitions Legal, it was about how you look at divorce, how you perceive it,
Right.
and not as a good or a bad, but as a transition from one stage of life to the next.
Right.
So no judgment there. And I feel like that's sort of the theme of this episode, which is like you're choosing your perspective, which is interesting. And it sounds like in the pandemic, really, it can be a choice of perspective with your relationship, with how you weather this time. So many people are like, I'm done with this. But if you just accept that it's beyond our control and it'll be done when it's done, and what can we learn from this? What can we take away from this? Maybe we have an easier time.
Can we find something positive to take away from it? Even if it is that I've made that decision to get divorced, it's still a choice.
Yeah.
And how I go about divorcing, like you said, it can be a choice. And it can be a choice that you make by slowing down a little bit and doing self-reflection.
Yeah. I can be vindictive. I can be malicious. Let's just go and take him for all he's worth. Or we can be respectful and just say, this isn't working anymore, but we can part, in a relatively respectful way.
Yes.
So it is always a choice. And it's not, you don't have to be the mean one in the divorce. You can just say, didn't work. Let's move on. You know?
Right.
So it's interesting. You guys know that on this show, the Make Meaning podcast, we focus on how people find meaning in work and purpose in life. And so I wanted to think about the role that our closest relationships play in defining our personal meaning and purpose. So what do you guys think is the role of a relationship in helping individuals determine their own purpose in their life and the meaning that they fill their days with?
Well, when I think about that question, I know we're talking about a married couple here, but when we're talking about relationships, there's so many different kinds of relationships.
Sure.
So it can be a couple who are married, or it can be a mother and a child, or an
Sure.
adult child, or two girlfriends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
These are all very important relationships. The one thing that is important for all of those relationships, I think, is support. Like, are they supportive relationships?
Yep.
And what does that mean? If you have the right support, then you can deal with the various situations in your life.
That's really well said, because there's so many different traditions that talk about the people you surround yourself with will impact how you feel, what you believe, the quality of your life. And so, if somebody's bringing you down or sucking your energy or really negative, that's going to rub off on you too. So I do think that we have to choose wisely when we decide to allow somebody to be that close to us. Like, even if it's a relative or whomever, you don't have to be close to them. It's a choice to really deepen that relationship, and it should be a win-win. What do you think, Dan?
I was listening.
Yeah.
And that's it. we during pre-pandemic, you can see the country stopped listening to each other, and it came to a head this past year.
Yeah.
But that breaks down to what Lisa was saying, whether you're married or friends or siblings or your daughter or son or something like that. We had a hard time listening. All right, on the larger scale of politics, it's still no one's listening. But I think down granularly, where we slow down, we're able to take the time to stop thinking about ourselves and thinking about others and listening to them.
Yeah.
And definitely, but learn to listen more.
Yeah.
Basically, we were forced to.
Yes. There was not much else to do. There's only so much that you're going to sit on the couch and veg on TV. And so there's getting outside and moving your body, but then there's conversation with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're right. Listening is really key.
Remember the beginning of the pandemic? How quiet it was?
Oh my God, it was amazing.
We were just listening to nothing.
Yeah. No traffic.
We remembered listening to the earth and listening to ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was no traffic. There was no planes. People were walking quietly around. Remember, the neighborhoods were filled with people walking?
Yeah. Yeah.
And before, we didn't know our neighbors.
Right.
We didn't see our neighbors.
We were too busy.
Yeah. And listening, I said communication underlies so many of the problems in a relationship when people come into divorce. I've narrowed it down to poor communication. But I think what you said, Dan, is so important. The other side of it is listening. Yeah. You have to listen. You have to be a listening person in that relationship as much as a communicator.
Absolutely. And fully listening is it's not waiting to jump in when there's a pause in the conversation. It's fully taking it in and just knowing that you'll get your turn.
You don't even need to turn sometimes. Right. It's just listening to the person talk. Yeah. And not trying to fix. Hard for guys. I know, guys, we like to fix things. Or allowing them vent and say, here's the other side. You should look at this. No, it's just like, give the space.
Yeah. Just listen. And sometimes it's self-reflection. Like, maybe they're saying something that I need to think about. Yeah. And taking that time to think. Like, you don't have to automatically respond. You need to take the time to think, and being able to slow down during this past year of the pandemic. Yeah. If it's allowed people to slow down so that they can listen more, then I think that's a really good thing.
I do too. So as we close, I wonder if there are any last relationship lessons that we might leave our listeners with today.
Take a shower every day.
Yes, please.
Respect the beard. Respect the beard.
Oh, I love your beard. I love your beard. Yeah. But get the beard conditioner. That's really important.
I do have the conditioner. Yes.
I know.
Yeah, I had to get it. Yeah.
I know you have it.
It works.
Yes, I got it for you.
Try new things. One thing, Lynne learned to love bourbon and whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's because we were binging on Outlander and now I'm reading all the books. And so they keep drinking whiskey in there from Scotland. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I actually, the more expensive it is, the better.
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
But no, it's been one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite drinks. It's always been bourbon. So I'm glad we can share that now.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Trying new things. That's nice.
And new foods.
I think in any relationship, being able to laugh together is a really wonderful thing. Like this morning, we've had so many nice laughs together, and it's just a great way to start my morning, my day. And
all right, Dan Golodner, Alisa Peskin-Shepherd, thank you so much for being on the Make Meaning podcast.
Thank you, Lynne Golodner.
Thanks for listening to the Make Meaning podcast with Lynne Golodner. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like what you've heard here, join us over at makemeaning.org to discover how you can add more meaning to your life. And hey, if you like our conversations, please subscribe and share this episode with the meaningful people in your world.